all heard of Resident Evil. You've heard of the games, you've heard of the movies, but we're going to watch the show today. So let's sit down and watch some Resident Evil. Now, wait a second. Wait, oh god. Oh, they turned Resident Evil into a fucking teen drama. No, fuck this, I'm out. No, I'm not doing this. Even I'm not doing this shit. Bye.
2 hours later.
What can I say? I'm a crap connoisseur. So, we open up on Jade, a character that we see both through past and future. Now, the show does this weird thing. It cuts between past and future on a whim, and it's really, really fucking distracting. It is the most jarring pacing I've ever seen in a TV show. I came in expecting it to be one time genre, like one time space, but it doesn't. It just fucking goes wild with the pacing. You're in the past and the present at fucking multiple times throughout each episode, and it becomes so jarring that it is super hard to fucking comment on. First, we're going to go through the first episode. So, we wake up with Jade. We don't wake up with Jade. She wakes up on her own. We're not with her. Don't you worry about that. So she wakes up in the middle of a post-apocalyptic London. And as well, to be honest, it doesn't really look that much different. Post-apocalyptic London looks pretty much the same as it does now. We go to this bridge. We go, this bridge? We go to fucking Westminster Bridge. We go to Westminster Bridge. It's the first thing that kind of tells you this is London. It tells you this is London and we are in this post-apocalyptic world, but it does it in the worst possible way, because this is a complete and total rip, at least in my opinion, from 28 Days Later. There is a scene that is the exact same, almost, except it's shot with raw footage. It looks a lot better, and it gives you that jarring aspect of walking through a post-apocalyptic London using the landmarks. But the show decides it would be much better if we completely CG in Westminster Bridge, because we can't afford to film on location. So she's running from this big fucking caterpillar. You know, the hungry caterpillar. It's a very hungry caterpillar, and it bursts out through the ground. She's doing some running, some bullshit ensues, and she has a bit of a, fight with it. She gets in the ring, Rocky style, and it cuts to the past. And we are sitting in a car with Jade, Billy, and the father of these two children, Albert Wesker. In what fucking world? In what world would Albert Wesker, the notorious villain from every Resident Evil series, the fucking psychotic evil bastard, have children? In what frame of mind? In what frame of mind were the directors and the fucking executives in when they decided, hey, let's make Wesker their daddy? This is what I was talking about. The pacing of this show is fucking insane. It just goes completely fucking bonkers. It decides it's going to go ahead and be the random quirky little Resident Evil show that nobody understands apart from its creator. It makes it so that you're not able, as a viewer, to comprehend what's going on some of the time, because there'll be this really big build, and then boom, future. Now, let's get back to Albert Wesker having a family. The three of them have moved away from the United States. I wonder why, Albert. Why did you move away from... Did you do a naughty? Is that why you moved? Three of them have moved away from the United States and have moved to South Africa. They're living in a town called New Raccoon City.
What the fuck?
And I just have to say that's a little bit fucking on the nose, isn't it? Because at this point, The original Raccoon City was destroyed in the 90s. Okay? That happened. That we can be comfortable with. But why would Umbrella make a new city, call it New Raccoon City, and just kind of pretend that it didn't happen? It if I'm familiar with the other games correctly, they full on explained that Umbrella had to shut down because the US government decided that they were going to shut the company down because they made fucking zombies. Because they made zombies, they got shut down, which I do believe is against health and safety regulations. You cannot make zombies and destroy a town. That is a big no-no from what I'm aware. I swear to God, what is the continuity in this? It's so fucking confusing. We got the family dynamic now. Billy loves her dad and doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with him because they don't know that their dad is a psychopath who pretty much destroyed a city. They don't know that, okay? So, let's go on the assumption that that is the case. We'll go along with that. Okay, so Billy loves her dad. Jade fucking hates him from the sounds of it, or she's just being rebellious, as all teenagers are. This is a teen drama, after all, the one genre we know that Resident Evil should be. A pair of Billy and Jade go to school. After they've moved into this new Raccoon City, after they've settled down, we find out that there's a bit of a dynamic between the two of them. So, we've got Billy, who is she's a loner, she's an edgy kid, she listens to Linkin Park. We've got Jade, who's, a bit more popular, she seems to blend in pretty well. And, yeah, so Billy, being the loner, gets bullied by this kid. She gets bullied and she gets punched in the face and attacked. So, Jade dresses up in a mascot costume, hunts down the bully, and beats the shit out of her while she's on the toilet. Quite literally. She beat the shit out of her literally. I couldn't have put it better myself, except I did. After finding out that this has happened, what Wesker does is quite a Wesker thing to do, to be honest. He goes to the school, he sits down with the parent and the bully, and because he knows that Billy is being bullied by this kid, he just goes, yeah, so you're gonna drop it, otherwise I'm gonna blackmail the shit out of you. And that is a very Wesker thing to do.
I don't want you fired. I want you blacklisted. I want it so that no tech company ever hires you. Not Apple, not Google. I want Pornhub to shred your resume.
So we go from this, we build up. We build up, we build up, we build up. And we go back into the future. And it cuts off all of that character development, that story. It cuts us off and gives us a nice jarring snap into the future to Jade fighting the hungry, hungry caterpillar. And she does this, but she gets knocked the fuck out. 3 not suspicious guys at all. They're totally not suspicious. Come along. And they find her and they pick her up and they take her back to their camp. They're definitely innocent. I promise. They're definitely innocent. All of this. And then it snaps back to the past again. I swear to God, I'm getting fucking whiplashed around here. I'm getting thrown around constantly. This show does not give you a break. And the 2 girls are now pretty suspicious of their dad, Wesker, because they think he's experimenting on rabbits. He probably is. So they break into the lab. They go down, they free the rabbits, but there's this balking, and they go and investigate the balk. Once they've done this, they decide they're going to... They free the balking, very angry sounding doggo. It just questions the logic in horror and all of these movies, because it doesn't make any sense. What? There's a balking. Let's go and set it free. It just doesn't make any sense why they would do such a thing. Okay, so they do this, and then Billy gets bitten. Bitten by the zombie doggo, and that's episode 1. So as you can see, it's kind of hard to talk about because it's so bland at most points. But the episode as a whole, it gives us an idea of the direction of the show, the pacing of the show, how all of this world works. It's kind of bog standard zombie show film bullshit. There are some other characters, but they're not very interesting. You've got fucking Evelyn, who later on does one of the worst things I've ever seen, the most horrible thing I've ever seen in humanity. You've got Evelyn's son, you've got some other characters that they kind of interact with, and Jade's future daughter and future husband. So most of the show is bland, it doesn't have a whole lot going for it, so from here on out, I'm just going to skim through it for you. Wesker turns up at the lab because he's noticed that they've taken his keycard, which, sure, of course you would. You would notice that. And he notices the zombie doggo bite and rushes them home. To which he then says the most ridiculous line that I have seen.
No, he was sick. Am I gonna get sick?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Will I have to quarantine?
No, it's not like COVID.
That's so unbelievably stupid. The T-virus destroyed an entire city. An entire fucking city. Of course you need to quarantine. It seems like they're trying to feign relatability with the viewer in any way they possibly can. By mentioning COVID? By mentioning a pandemic? I guess, but why? As if anyone's sitting there going, I know that. That's a virus that killed my grandma. There are some passable references, though. For example, in a future segment, we have Jade. She's in this room, and the room is made to look like one of the original safe rooms from Resident Evil. And they've got the typewriter, they've got the desk, they've got like the door that's barricaded. It's pretty cool, it's nice. But the zombies on this other side of the door, and they're bashing it down, and they're about to get it down, but then this grenade rolls in from the side and just saves the day. Because Jade uses this grenade to blow up the zombies. That is the biggest fucking Deus Ex Machina that I have ever seen. It's unbelievable. It's so fucking ridiculous. Why? Why did you need that fucking... Ugh. It doesn't mean anything. Throughout the future segments, we tend to get a cat and mouse game of Umbrella chasing Jade, Jade getting to one area, Umbrella catching up to her, everyone gets killed, she runs away again, Umbrella catches up to her, everyone gets killed, you get the picture. This happens for literally the entire show. The good guy is going to get away almost every single time, apart from one time when she gets caught and they all get taken by some French cultists. These French cultists, they worship zombies, apparently. They think they're the next step of evolution, and I've never understood that. The people who believe that zombies are the next step of evolution. You want to evolve and become a shambling mound who just kind of walks around and rots away for the rest of time. That's what you think is going to happen evolutionarily. She finds out that there is this zombie that has a pheromone that can control other zombies. Okay, so we've got the point. We have a point, finally. She's got something that can stop the zombies, she just has to get its head. She runs from some more zombies. Eventually, her sister, Billy, finds her and has joined Umbrella, which would have been somewhat... Oh no, if you know, they'd done it naturally and just showed the show as time goes on and not spliced them so you kind of just don't care. So from now on, I'm just going to talk about the past and future segments separately because it makes for a whole lot more sense. In the past segments, we get a lot more drama, teen drama for Jade and Billy and Wesker, because now his daughter has been infected, he's running around trying to hide the fact that his daughter has become infected with the T-virus. Through these segments, we find out that Wesker, the Wesker we've seen in this show up until now, is actually a clone. One of 3 clones, to be exact. He is a clone of the original Wesker, and there's another 2 clones, which we see in a flashback to the Arklay Mountains in 2005. Umbrella catches up with him, and he says, "I've got to get rid of the evidence," and then fucking pews one of his clones, and you know that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would shoot 1 clone and leave the other 2 to make sure that there's no evidence left behind at all. The original Albert Wesker did die in a volcano, but 2 clones survived. One being Al and the other being Bert. I know, original naming scheme, very brilliant. So it picks and chooses which part of the continuity it wants. It takes the continuity, puts it in a blender, and then kind of spits it out because it just doesn't care, and it's a massive fucking slap in the face to the fans. Anyone who loves Resident Evil, this show does not love you. Wesker has been found out to be a very naughty boy, not the Messiah, and he gets locked up in a cell next to his brother/clone Bert. While Albert is imprisoned, Al to be specific, Bert, the technical uncle of the daughters, breaks out and decides to pretend to be the dad for a little bit. Decides to pretend to be Al for a little bit because he's weird. He's a little bit quirky like that, you see. He's not like other clones. So they go outside, and they're apprehended immediately by Umbrella, who has found them. And fucking Bert just goes on a murdering spree, killing every single one of them, bashing heads into walls, slamming heads into car doors, snapping necks, beating the shit out of people. And then when they put a handcuff on him and detain him, he goes, "You're mean. You're a meanie. Why would you do that?" And it's just... So the daughters then find their father and find out he has got something called, I can't remember what the disease is. He's just very sick, and he's got, I'm going to call it clonitis, and that he's been using them as his cure. They're not very happy. Fucking understandable. I wouldn't be happy either. At all. So, once we find this out and we hear how unhappy they are, Billy's like, "I hate you. I want you dead." And then they run off. Billy bites Evelyn's son, to which Evelyn then decides to shoot her own son after Al says, "I can cure him. I can fix him. Don't do anything." She shoots him in the head. And says she loves him. So after all this, they decide they're going to forgive Al. They're going to completely forgive him and absolve him of everything he's done, even though he literally just created them to cure his disease. And they just kind of go along with it. They're running through the Umbrella facility trying to get out. And they go through all of this, to which Al and Bert start making a bomb to blow up the facility. Okay, they do this successfully. But Al's like, "I'll stay behind. I'll blow up the place. I'll make sure you can all get away. Just go and have a life, Bert. Go and have a life and raise my daughters." To which Bert's like, "No, I'll do it." And Al's like, "No, you do it." I just don't think he wants to hang out with the kids. I wouldn't either. They're pretty fucking annoying. They drive away, Bert and the kids, and the dad has given them this letter, and it's like, go to see Ada Wong. They name drop Ada Wong in anticipation that they're gonna get a season 2, but they ain't gonna get a season 2. I'm pretty sure Netflix is not going to greenlight a season 2 of this show. Now, with all that bullshit dealt with, let's look forward to the future. Billy had found Jade after she found the head that had the cure. And Billy kidnaps her, takes her to this facility, and then just kind of goes, I was wrong, I'll let you go, sister. And Jade just kind of believes this, and she takes the head and runs away. I mean, it's so obviously a fucking trap that... It's so obviously a trap that you would have to be fucking idiotic. You would have to be stupid to believe that this was not a trap. So with Jade being the genius that she is, she runs back to the ship. The ship that is carrying this place called the University. And the University's collecting all previous human knowledge. They've been hunted by Umbrella throughout the zombie apocalypse for years. And she just kind of goes back there immediately? What? She gets to see her family again, her daughter, her husband, and they're all happy and nothing's ever gonna go wrong. Spoilers, it does. So Jade begins to experiment on this head that she's got, and deduces that she can extract this pheromone from the head and create a zombie repellent or a zombie attractor for all of those. It's like the Axe body spray commercial, but with zombies. She's just gonna spray it on, they're all gonna fucking eat her. They say, let's bring a zombie on board and check it, but first we've just got to make sure it's completely safe and that no one can get possibly hurt. Yeah, that makes sense. In this kind of scenario, you would need to be safe. It was the thing that made sense in this situation. But Jade goes overboard while everyone's asleep, finds a zombie in the water that is still alive, puts it in a body bag and brings it back on the ship, ties it up in her lab, and then tests it out. It works, but then the zombie breaks free. And her lab assistant, who is, somewhere else on the ship, gets eaten. Jade, you're a bad character. So it turns out, bringing that head on board the ship was not a good idea because Billy put a tracker on it. And Umbrella has found them. And they're now having to negotiate with Umbrella. And Evelyn's here. Evelyn's back. Who'd have thought that she'd survive? But she is the head of Umbrella, so it makes sense. So we go to the shore. Jade speaks with Evelyn. Before she does that, though, Evelyn does a little dance, and it is fucking awful. It's the most cringeworthy song for them to dance to in this situation. What they really should have done, if they wanted to be great, they should have just used Umbrella by Rihanna. Now, I know that's a bit on the nose, but the show's bad anyway, so it would have been great. Evelyn has been under the control of Billy for the past few years after she's been controlling, her brain with some mind control bullshit that she cooked up. Jade doesn't like this and decides that her sister's too far gone, grabs the zombie attracting pheromone and throws it on the floor, attracts a bunch of zombies that then run towards the little tent thing that Umbrella has set up for them to negotiate in. And yeah, that's her way of dealing with it. I don't know whether she kept a vial of the zombie repellent on her. What she decided to do in that scenario is so stupid. She's going to get herself killed, and her daughter, and maybe the rest of her family, should they get on the cargo ship. But they don't. Don't you worry. They get away. But before she went to shore, Jade said, you got to make sure you get off the ship and run away. You got to get away. And good kid does. She listens to her mummy. She runs away. She gets off the ship. And at that point, after they've fought through all of the zombies, a big old crocodile is released. A big crocodile. Similar to the one in Resident Evil 2. I mean, the nostalgia's nice. I'm not gonna lie, the nostalgia is nice, but the way it's done is so weird and just not fun at all. Billy's like, "Why the fuck? Who are you?" And then she figures out it's her sister's daughter, and then she kind of just shoots Jade dead. Billy shoots Jade dead and kidnaps her daughter. So all of this stuff that's happened through the future segments is just Jade fucking up continually, over and over again, until Umbrella just kind of wins and gets away with her daughter. Do I recommend this show? No. Not even as a joke. The pacing is borderline nonsensical. The characters are stupid and unlikable. The story kind of moves at this, well, as a bad pace because of the future and past switching. If they'd stuck to one time period, which they did for one episode, in episode 5, they mostly stayed in the past, and it made sense. The one episode they stayed in one time period made sense, but they didn't do that for the rest of the show, and it doesn't work because of that. It's just so unlikable and boring because they just didn't do what a normal show would do. They wanted to be quirky, they wanted to be unique, but in the end they ended up pleasing no one. Right, that's everything for today. Thank you for watching, Cretinians, and I will catch you later. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button before I am eaten by a bunch of zombies, and hit the like button and hit the bell button to make sure that they're repelled from you as well. You've got to make sure of that, so make sure to do both of those things. And I'll catch you all later. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.